3 signs that a man wants to leave. A psychological analysis of the warning signs. In this video, we'll talk about the signs that indicate a man is making the decision to leave, or has already made that decision. So, the first important indicator is emotional detachment. A frozen heart, the silence of the soul. At that moment, the man closes himself off. It's like an invisible wall exists. You, as if he were on the same territory as him, as if he were nearby, but he was, as if in another place, as if he was not there. Next to you, he seems frozen. He is cold, he is a stranger. And this is an important indicator that a man is considering perhaps his future life without you. If you realize that before, your conversations were intimate, you shared your problems and feelings with each other, you could talk about a lot, and you supported one another, but now your conversations are superficial. Like, how's it going? Fine. How was your day? All good. How are the kids? And so on, all in that spirit. You understand that your conversations have become shallow. How was your day? Everything's good. How are the kids? And so on, all in that spirit. You realize that your conversations are superficial. Right now, he's thinking about how life will be without you, how he can live without you. Another important indicator could be emotional impenetrability, meaning he has a defensive mask of indifference. You're crying, and it's like he doesn't care at all. You're talking about your feelings, and he just doesn't care. This mask of indifference can be a defensive reaction to pain, a defensive reaction to stress, or certain conflicts. For example, if you've been having conflicts for a long time, a man can wear a mask of indifference if he thinks about escape routes, thinks about how he will live without you, what is happening to him with his life. And he no longer wants to be involved in solving any complicated problems or conflicts. And this also includes secrecy and concealment, conditionally does not consider you a part of his life. He stops sharing at some points. He stops sharing his victories and defeats. He doesn't tell you anything. Again, the conversations are superficial. He doesn't want to share his emotions, feelings, and experiences. You don't know what he's going through. This could mean that the man has started to build his new life without you. So now, somewhere in his mind, he's mapping out a life without you. He's learning not to share with you, not to consult you, not to talk, and not to expect anything from you. For example, support and so on, and this also includes physical distance. Physical closeness equals emotional connection. When the emotional connection fades, so does the physical closeness. Therefore, in relationships where the partners have a strong emotional connection, where people constantly have tactile contact, where they support each other, where they constantly exchange feelings, emotions, and thoughts, where they talk, where they kiss, hug, they fall asleep together, hugging each other, and have a strong emotional connection. And of course, that emotional connection equals physical closeness. But as soon as that emotional connection breaks, thins out, or collapses, when you've already had a long period of that emotional bond deteriorating, there can't be any real physical closeness because in the man's mind, his feelings for you have faded. Well, while I move on to the next point, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on more helpful content. This video is about the relationship between men and women. So, the next sign that a man wants to leave is a change in behavior. First, the man starts to pull away, then he changes his behavior. And that's already a serious reason to be on guard. So, at some point, it could be a turning point in your relationship. If you see that your man has new sudden hobbies, new friends, new hobbies, new interests without you, he doesn't tell you about them, doesn't share them. He disappears. A lot of time doing something somewhere, something new in his life, something not connected with you. So he learns to live in a new way. He learns to live without you. He creates his new reality in which you are not. The next change in behavior may be secrecy. The man begins not to hide. He simply does not feel now that he is obliged to tell you anything. Inside, there's already been a moment of separation. In his soul, there's been a moment of departure. So if you're still living in the same space, but the man has made the decision to break things off internally, he's going to be secretive. Not because he has something to hide, but because he doesn't want to share anymore. And he doesn't feel obligated to be honest with you. That's how he thinks now. Changes in his behavior may be accompanied by criticism and nagging. In other words, he might criticize you for anything and everything. If before he was fine with everything, including your appearance, the way you cook, the way you clean, the way you create, the comfort in the house, the way you raise children, for example, now he's just not satisfied with anything. Now he's constantly nitpicking. It's like he's just looking for things to latch onto, moments he can criticize or pick apart. And this is really not about you and not for you. This is something he needs for himself. He is looking for clues and justification for his desire to leave. It'll be easier for him this way. In this way, he's unloading his mind. After all, you're a bad housekeeper, a bad mother, a bad wife. You cook poorly. You don't look good. And now he has plenty of reasons to leave you. By the way, have there been moments like that in your life? Has this ever happened in your life with your partner? And if you recognize your relationship in this description, give it a like, and you'll see that you're not the only one. So next, the third sign that a man wants to leave is a lack of communication. The man completely shuts down. Conversations. So you're trying to talk about something you feel and see that something's off. You're trying to reconnect and start a conversation, hoping to maybe restore your relationship, to change something. But now he's avoiding talks. Any kind of talks. It's like there's a brewing conflict or some decision about joint plans, decisions about things like the kids or future plans. The man avoids any conversations. It's like there's a brewing conflict or some decision about joint plans, decisions about things, for example, that concern the kids or future plans. The man avoids any conversations. Avoiding conversations can actually be a form of conflict avoidance. That is, he doesn't want to solve any problems anymore. Maybe he's already decided for himself that it's over. Now, any conversations are just a defensive reaction, retreating into himself and not talking about anything because he no longer has the desire to participate in family life, in this woman's life. So, silence and avoiding conversations. Next, it's about pointless arguments. He can actually create arguments. He can either go silent or stir up fights. And you realize that these arguments seem to come out of nowhere. It's pulled out of thin air. There's no reason for a fight, but a fight gets started anyway. And in reality, a man might try this tactic to deliberately push you away. It may be difficult for him to make the decision to leave. In this way, he shifts responsibility onto you for your relationship so that you get tired of his constant discontent, quarrels, and conflicts. And finally, he's made that decision that's been so hard for him. And along with that, there's a lack of compromise. If a man has stopped taking your opinion into account, for example, communication has not disappeared in your relationship, and perhaps he does not attack you, and you do not have groundless quarrels. But if before he took your opinion into account, now there are no compromises. He only consults himself. The decision is made, and he started doing it all on his own. And this can also be a sign that the man is deciding to leave. For him, you are no longer, let's say, a partner. When there is no partner nearby, then there is no point in consulting with someone. Taking into account someone's opinions, someone's interests, then it makes sense to make decisions on your own. It makes sense to only take your own desires into account. This is the absence of compromise. It could be another sign that the man has decided to leave the relationship. That's all I have for this video. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. Bye.